Sonic, I'm very curious, Big Sonic. I'm so curious, I'm wondering, we've been hearing about like fucking mystical creatures that come out of the ocean and they fly into the sky, and if you're very close to them, you might get all the Chaos Emeralds and they'll give you a lot of gold rings and coins. I've been hearing about these tales, Big Sonic, about these mystical creatures that come out of the ocean floor. They fly into the sky, and they drop all the Chaos Emeralds and the gold coins. Well, what are you getting at, Small Sonic? Big Sonic, I think we need to go and try and find this mystical creature, Big Sonic. Do you think it's a good idea, Big Sonic? Well, Small Sonic, I'm not too familiar with this mystical creature. I've never heard of it. It's never been talked about in our history books. You just seem to like believe in someone's opinion on that, I guess. Big Sonic, someone told me that it's real. Well, okay, Small Sonic, let's go and see then. The best arguments against religion, even though the nature of this channel is like, it just seemed to be like the fact that I very much support the idea of like religion and spirituality and etc. and stuff like that. I do support these types of things. I am more in favor of like religion and spirituality than like just science and secularism and atheism. But now I just want to be like a little bit like, just play devil's advocate. You guys know what devil's advocate is? Let's just assume for the sake of this video that I'm now a rigorous atheist, a skeptic. In my opinion, there is like certain things that the atheists, the skeptics say that is kind of a little bit convincing. I just want to kind of like go over now some of the most best arguments that I could possibly think of that kind of like debunk religion to some extent. One of like a couple of the like, these are like, so at least the ones that I've thought of, like these are like some of the best arguments that I have thought of regarding like debunking religion. And I was right off the bat hit you with now the fact that angels, demons, heaven, hell, these types of like things, these things are super like nobody's ever seen these types of things in real life. Isn't that kind of very, very interesting and fascinating? Angels, demons, heaven, hell, miracles, which is also very much important for the Abrahamic faiths. None of this has, in all of our human history, has never ever been properly documented, especially in our modern age. We have fucking cameras, we have fucking 4K fucking cameras. We don't even have like, we have satellites that can like image everything so precisely, but it's never been seen all around the globe that these like angels, demons, miracles, any of that is actually quite honestly real. It's not just like a figment of our imagination. That's one of the biggest flaws with religion, is the fact that in our modern day and age, with all of our advanced technology and all of our sophisticated computer imaging things and whatever, and all our top-notch technology and 4K expensive cameras, no one's managed to take a snapshot or even like a little picture of an angel or a demon, a proper one that hasn't been like later on confirmed to be a fraud. Isn't that very suspicious, guys? That all these like religions that talk about like angels, demons, these mystical creatures and entities, they're real. You just have to read it in our book. But we, like, in terms of like real life, nobody's ever seen them. Isn't that quite funny? Isn't that a little bit funny that angels, demons, heaven, hell, nobody in real life has ever saw any of these types of things. You only hear, you have to just read a book that was written in the Middle Ages. You have to read like this book that was written in the Middle Ages, and that's where you're going to get your evidence and proof from for the existence of angels and demons and heaven and hell. Even though nobody in real life has ever documented these types of things ever, that is probably one of like, that is the type of argument I would personally employ against religion. Angels, demons, heaven and hell, none of these types of things and has ever been like properly documented, especially in our modern day and age, especially miracles. Because if you read the Bible, the Quran, maybe not the Quran to a massive extent, definitely the Bible, Jesus was doing miracles, etc. God in the Bible does a lot of miracles. You don't see people, even though a lot of people are like very sincere about their religion, so certain people, like some people like very much believe in like the Christian God or the Islamic God or etc. and stuff, and they pray so hard, but their ailments don't disappear. There's never been any type of proper documentation on the fact that prayer, the art of prayer can actually solve any type of like serious issue. Is all like so speculative and so wishy-washy and so horrible. Isn't that very interesting, guys? In all of our history, angels, demons, heaven, hell, all of this stuff, nobody's ever saw any of this in real life. It's all, you just have to read a fucking book that was written in the medieval period by someone that was like barely literate. You have to read these types of books, these collection of stories that were written in the medieval period. You have to read them And that's the proof for angels and demons and fucking whatever, and heaven and hell, these types of things that nobody's ever saw any of these types of things in real life. It's never been properly documented in real life. You just have to trust God. Angels, demons, heaven and hell, all of that is real, because it says so in the book that was written in the Middle Ages, and you have to trust that book because it was written by someone that could barely read or write. I'm not going to be like, off the bat, I'm not an atheist, but these are like some of like my best, like, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. I just want to really see and test, like, sort of like the legitimacy of religion, because it does seem to be, at least in my opinion, it does seem kind of a little bit ridiculous. Angels, demon, heaven, hell, nobody's seen any of this in real life. For most of all of human history, it's never been like properly documented that yes, angels, demons, whatever you want to call it, is actually real. Heaven, hell's real. You just have to read a book that was written in the medieval period. You have to read like these medieval books. It's so dumb. It kind of is. That is like the only piece of evidence for it as well. No Christian, Muslim, Jew can ever show you any type of like, oh, there's actually like angels, demons, God, heaven, hell, any of this stuff is actually real. They can never tangibly offer any sort of like practical proof. It's all about blind faith and just believing in stuff written in a book that was made in the Middle Ages. It is kind of a little bit dumb. Actually, it literally is actually dumb if you carefully start to think about that. Angels, demons, heaven, hell, God, all of these types of things, even miracles, none of it has been documented at all in terms of like our real life, our real world. From our observable reality, none of it has been documented. There have been people like that have been dying of like disease. They've been praying to God, but their disease has never been cured. People have just died of like cancer, some other health ailments, and they prayed so hard to God, but God didn't answer their calls. Isn't that very suspicious, guys? Angels, demons, heaven, hell, all that stuff, it's never been seen in real life. Nobody's ever saw any of these types of things in real life. It's all, you just have to read a book, and that's the only piece of evidence you have for these types of things. For angels, demons, heaven, hell, you have to read a book that was written in the Middle Ages. And that's the only piece of evidence you have for the existence of angels, demons, God, heaven, hell. It's so dumb once you start to think about that. Honestly, it's not different. Like, like Spider-Man. If I showed you like a bunch of Marvel comics, Spider-Man is actually real. You need to show me him. Spider-Man is a real person for sure. Peter Parker is real. Imagine if you wanted like proof and you wanted me to show you where Peter Parker lives. I said no. You just have to read the comic book. You have to read these like Marvel comic books. You get it. You see this same thing as like on religion. Angels, demon, God, heaven, hell. And none of these things have been seen in real life by anyone. No human being can ever claim that he's seen like an angel or demon, heaven, hell, God, whatever. No human being can say that he's seen these types of things in real life. That's so interesting. You have to read a book to figure these types of things out. That's what really, that takes a lot of the legitimacy away from a religion. I do say so. Angels, demon, heaven, hell, God, all of these types of things. No human being has seen any of this in real life. It's all in the fucking books that were written in the Middle Ages by people that were fucking illiterate. Isn't that so funny? It's so hilarious. Because even though I'm not an atheist, I do have a lot of sympathy for the atheists. I do agree with a lot of their arguments, because I do see there is like so many different types of flaws with religion as well. That heaven, hell, angels, demon, God, none of this stuff, no human being in all of our history has ever saw any of these types of things in real life. You have to just read about it in a book that was written in the Middle Ages by people that could barely read or write, literally like Stone Age cavemen. You have to take your fucking, you have to read books that were created by Stone Age cavemen. Isn't that so hilarious, guys? That is so fucking hilarious. Bronze Age, Stone Age, maybe not Stone Age, but Bronze Age. Literally, we're like a millennia. That is so fucking stupid, guys. Imagine dragons are real, but you must read a book about. Oh, imagine it. Like I said that dragons are real, and the only piece of evidence I gave you is okay. No human being has ever saw a dragon in real life. But what I can give you as a piece of evidence is there's like a book that was written a couple hundred years ago, and it talks about that dragons are real, and you just need to believe in that book, and you need to believe the fact that dragons are real because it says so in the book. And here's the piece of evidence for the fact that dragons are real. Do you see how fucking stupid that is, guys? And that is most of religion for you guys. That is literally like fucking hell. That is most of religion for you. Angels, demons, God, heaven, hell, all of that type of stuff. No human being has ever saw this in real life. It's all in the books. You have to just trust the book. A book that was written in the Middle Ages by someone that was primitive and so like kind of illiterate and stupid a little bit. I don't know. That is kind of fucking hilarious. It's actually so funny once you start to think about it like that. That, all these Christians, Muslims, Jews, God, angels, demon, heaven, hell, they can never offer you anything regarding like tangible proof for these types of things. You just have to trust a book that was written literally 1,000 years ago. Maybe if we're talking about like the Old Testament, that is fucking hilarious. Imagine I said dragons are real, okay, even though no human being on planet Earth has ever saw a dragon in real life, no human being has ever came into contact with a dragon. Dragons are real. You just need to listen. You need to read a book that was written 100 years ago. That is the best proof and piece of evidence for the fact that dragons are real. Just like, angels, demons, heaven, hell, God. None of these things have ever been seen by any type of human being in real life. It's all about reading a book that was written hundreds of years ago. It's fucking so funny to me. Even though I'm not an atheist, I'm not an atheist. Again, this is just a devil's advocate video. I'm just really, guys, I always encourage you to think a little bit more intellectually. But think about it, heaven, angels, demons, God, all of that type of stuff. Have you ever came to the conclusion that these things are real based off actual tangible evidence and proof and critical thinking? Or is it just you just blindly believe a book that was written in the Middle Ages? Isn't that kind of a little bit dumb, guys? Literally, dragons are real, but even though no human beings ever saw a dragon in real life, it's never been properly documented. You just have to trust a book that was written 100 years ago stating the fact that dragons are real. Think about that, guys. It's literally on that same level. I'm not an atheist, but I do encourage critical thinking, guys. It's so hilarious to me. I don't know, but it's up for you guys to figure out on your own, and that's about it.